welcome to the show Influence of War. Here we'll tell you how the war in Ukraine affected the economic and cultural aspects of different countries. Today's country is known for being the cradle of Western civilization, the birthplace of democracy, the Olympic Games, and its ancient history and magnificent temples. Guys, I'm talking about Greece. After over 10 years of economic crisis followed by the pandemic, many Greek households are at the edge of their financial resources. In fact, 30% are at risk of poverty. As a result, inflation is hitting Greece particularly hard in this case. While the energy costs have been the number one topic of everyday conversation for months, general inflation has now been added to the mix, and many families are cutting their summer vacations short or can no longer afford them at all. Companies in Greece, Croatia, and Spain will also suffer more than the EU average. In Greece, the European Investment Bank model sees a 27.6% increase in the share of firms reporting losses. This is the highest projected increase in the EU and is almost exclusively due to higher energy prices. Production in some countries like Lithuania, Greece, and Croatia remains relatively energy intensive, while Luxembourg's output relies very little on energy. The war could lead to a 2.5 increase in the share of the Greek population at risk of poverty from the 26.87% this figure reached in 2020 alone. For Greece, Russia represents 26% of oil imports and 39% of natural gas imports, according to the Ministry of Finance. It is a country with a relatively high dependence on Russian gas, but not as high as Germany, which is 80% dependent. The Ministry of Finance estimates that for every $10 increase in the international price of natural gas, the Greece's GDP is hit by 600 million euros. The severity of the impact of inflation is also shown by a call for a general strike. The trade union confederations GSEE and ADEDY organized a general strike on April 6, which paralyzed public transport in Athens. The demands were for salary increases to match the level of inflation, the reintroduction of the 13th and 14th monthly salaries in the public sector, a tax-free sustenance level of 12,000 euros, and an increase in the minimum wage to 751 euros. The government's activists must be seen against the backdrop of the approaching elections, which will take place sometime between September 2022 and even spring 2023. Relief for the population in the form of direct subsidies to households for petrol vouchers, or the petrol pass, is in progress. The next round is expected to flush up to 100 euros into the pockets of 3.1 million drivers. The government had previously announced that the Power Pass program would reduce electricity bills by up to 600 euros for needy households. The Syriza opposition party accused the government of duping consumers because the average payouts have been much lower. In addition, the government is also likely to offer another inflation check. This, according to media reports, could be available to needy households with an annual income of up to 7,200 euros and assets of less than 200,000 euros. This will create another gap of 250 to 300 million euros in the budget. This is one way to counter rising prices, but what if the supply of Russian gas is interrupted? If Russia turns off the gas, between 40 and 50% of the gas supply will go missing. New gas supplies from the Eastern Mediterranean from Israel and Egypt are still a thing of the future. In the short term, the country's energy supply is to be partially replaced by the TAP pipeline, which supplies gas from Azerbaijan and by liquefied natural gas. In addition, new liquefied gas terminals are under construction and old ones are being expanded. The main pillar of Greece's power supply whilst in crisis mode is a boost of lignite production over the next 12 months. Even though coal-fired power generation was supposed to be phased out by 2028, now the return of lignite is in full swing. 6 power plants returned to full operation in June. Lignite accounted for 34% in the energy mix of the state-owned electricity company DEI in June, compared to 19.9% in May. Economize is otherwise the model for the population. One particularly unconventional measure has been introduced: anyone who replaces their old air condition. Guys, this is all for today, and see you guys on the next episode.